All right, guys, pardon my voice. It's on its way out, and I'm fighting it. But those of you who follow me and watching my videos since I had that 54, you saw that I put the tissue dispenser down there and put a radio inside of it with a removable face on the tissue dispenser. I hated it. It was bulky. It was ugly. I never put the face on, so it just sat on the seat and slid around everywhere all the time, and I'd have to like lay on the seat to get the face of the thing back on and squeeze it together and all kinds of other stupid stuff. So this time I'm doing something a little different, and I was going to do this in different parts and just post them up as I went, but I figured I'd just wait and do all one video, so I deleted the other one I already had up. Anyway, this is the radio for the 51, the original radio. Most likely would have worked had I taken the time to make it work, but I didn't feel like doing that. It would cost me probably $500 or $600 to make it even compatible with any kind of Bluetooth or anything, so I could listen to something besides AM. So that wasn't for me. So I decided and started researching, and I found a Bluetooth amp. It's a Kenwood amp, and this is for all you guys who are trying to decide what kind of stereo to put in and whatever. It's a Bluetooth amp that's standalone, doesn't need any kind of receiver or anything. And it has this remote right here. That's the model number of the amp right there, in case you're interested. This controls it, but you can also set whatever you want, turn the volume all the way up on the amp or whatever. This is just to initially set it up. And then I put some Velcro on it. Got some Velcro on the bottom, so I can just stick it right to the bottom and the signal still passes through. I was going to put it inside the metal housing, but apparently metal blocks out the Bluetooth signal, so I didn't want to fool with it. This light wire wasn't long enough, so I had to patch that up, and I'm gonna redo it eventually. But it's all I had right now. My soldering iron broke, so I couldn't solder any of this stuff, which kind of sucks, but whatever. And this cable, this thing's made for like a boat and stuff, so this cable is ridiculously long. I didn't want to cut it. I was going to cut it and patch all the wires inside. There's like 6 wires in this housing. I was going to patch them all back together for the length I wanted, but I figure if I ever decide to mount the amp in the trunk or under a seat or whatever, I want to make sure it's good. So I have this. I'm just going to, once it's in, I'm going to zip tie right to the back. All right, let's see. That's a factory grommet. That was already there. This is the amp ground wire. I'm going to put it right to here when I bolt this back into the support brackets. So that'll ground out on the radio just like the light does. Grounds out on the housing right here. This light bulb, when you swap to 12 volts, is a number 57. Couldn't find it anywhere. I did 2 months of research and I finally figured it out. So it's a number 57. Got a power wire, and see how skinny it is, because this amp's only, it's rated at 45 watts by 4, but it's only a 15 amp fuse on it, so it takes no power. It's a Class D, so apparently it runs super cool, and it's extra efficient, like 90% efficient compared to a regular amp that's like 40% efficient. You got the remote wire. So this is going to, I don't know if I can show you that. The silver squares right there on the left is constant battery. The one on the right is ignition on battery. So this is going to constant battery. The remote wire is going to ignition on battery. I bridged the amp. It's 90 by 2 when it's bridged. These wires are going to the back speaker. Now what I did is I took this all apart. It was a 6x9 here. Those screws right here that hold the speaker in are actually the factory screw holes. So I didn't do anything. I have a set of Alpine speaker, or an Alpine speaker in here, one 6x9. I'm trying to build this thing up to be more modern, but look original for the most part. So let me pull this off. I haven't put this all together yet. So here's what we have on the inside. All right. Gray and the white wire. White goes to positive, gray goes to negative. Got those wired up. I have this switch right here. And if you saw my other video, you probably remember me talking about it. It's a push-pull switch. So you pull it out, and it gives power to this side. So I took the remote wire, and I cut it. See, this is the remote and the light wire, the output. This is the input for the remote wire right here. Where is it? That's what's out here that I'm running to the battery. So I push the switch in, it turns the amp off and the light off on the radio and the face. Pull it out, the light turns on, the amp gets powered up. So that's it. Here's the amp itself. And if you have one of these radios, you know how small this thing is. That's the back right there with plenty of space to spare. And this amp's pretty cool. But then back there, it has the optional speaker, dealer installed speaker. So I pulled the cardboard out. It was already all warped and messed up like that. Pulled it out and used a saw and cut the hole bigger for the 6x9. So I have a 6x9 and the factory's 5x7 opening. Same exact speaker as this. They come in pairs. These are the only speakers I could find that would handle the wattage I needed them to handle. They handle 100 watts RMS. With this amp putting out 90. I didn't want to cut any extra holes back there. I wanted it to look completely factory. So that's what I had to work with. So I gutted the radio. It's never going to work again because I threw all the crap away. I kept it just so it has the push buttons. And they still push, of course. Because these springs right here do what they do. But all these wires are going to be tucked up out of the way. I got a... It's not showing up too well. I got a little wire tie to kind of guide the wires where I need them to go. And I took the amp wire and wire tied it up there. But that's it. I had to notch this out to fit the speaker, which I didn't want to do, and it looks like junk, but I was just using a 4-inch grinder, 4.5-inch grinder, and it just didn't work out right. I didn't plan on doing it. It was one of those last minute things. I thought the speaker was going to fit because it's super shallow. But yeah, I mean, the wires are pretty clean, nice and organized. Got the amp. I'm going to go ahead and pop this bad boy in here, and we'll see what we can make happen. All right. All right, radio's in. Those nuts right there, I found this plate in a box. I didn't have it before, and I didn't think it had one. I was like, I'm never going to find this thing on eBay or anywhere. But I found it's a little nicked up, but it's all right. So, 5/8 screw for these nuts right here, or 5/8 socket for these nuts. I forgot to tell you, I got a brass rod, and I used a die and just cut threads on it, and got a coupling nut to go on that push-pull switch, because it was probably a 1/2 inch long, and it's mounted towards the back of the radio. So this, I took my grinder, flattened it out in the shape of the original one, so the knob slides right onto it. It's perfect. But see, watch. Let me see. It's D-shaped. So you just push that on like that, and now push pull. That's it. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, it's off right now. When I'm ready, I just pull it on, and it's on. Took me just a couple tries to line it up right. If anybody has a knob, If anybody has a knob they want to sell me, I'll take it. I don't want to buy a new set, because then I'm gonna have 2 brand new knobs and the rest old knobs. But all right, I'm gonna try and get the back on now. It's gonna be a pain in the butt because I have to be upside down on my head. But let's go ahead and get that done and close the radio up. All right, the back is on. Got those 2 little screws in the bottom to hold everything in place. Still plenty of room for these cables right here. Once I zip tie them up, I mean, there's going to be more than enough room. Not even close to the heating duct. This resistor for the heater works awesome, by the way. It does get super hot, but my heat blows out like nothing I've ever felt. Definitely better than the Summit heater on my other Chevy. All right, so now I'm going to trim these wires down and attach them to the auxiliary panels, wherever they are. There they are. That red wire going to the bottom right there is for my tack. This gigantic moon tack. I have to decide if I'm keeping that thing or not, but we'll see. All right, so let me trim these down. Be right back. All right, wires trimmed. Tried to keep it consistent and kept the blue terminal on the remote wire and the red terminal for power. Not that I can't just look at where they're connected and figure it out, but, you know, it's one of those things. And remember, I will be pulling all this apart to resolder it as soon as I get a new soldering iron. All right, let's go ahead and hook these up to the panels. All right, they're hooked up. Red terminal, blue terminal, good to go. Now, see, the problem is I can't have the radio playing and show that it works. I will on a separate video, but this is just going to be an install video. Now these speaker wires right here, I'm going to run them right alongside those other wires I patched in. If they're long enough. If not, I'm just going to hold off and I'm going to wait. I have this from when I did my Jeep, but I seriously doubt those are going to reach. So I think I'm just going to hold off for now and just hook the front speaker up. So I guess that's almost it. I'm just going to wrap that wire up there. And then that's pretty much it. Actually, I'm not going to wrap the wire up because I got to be able to hold on to the remote while I'm programming it. But yeah, that's it. So if you all are trying to put a stereo in anything that didn't have a working radio, and you don't want to have a ugly CD player, or you don't want to use your glove box and put a radio in there and have your glove box door hanging open all the time, this is it. If you need any details, if you're interested, whatever, just let me know. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you need. Push, pull, on, off. That's it. Was completely factory. Nobody's going to know. And it's not completely theft proof, but if somebody wants it, they're going to have to work really, 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 really hard for it. So, and by that point, I'll be out here smashing them in the head with the brass knuckles or something. So, all right. Thanks for watching.